Hey there, happy Sunday. I am glad that you're here. I hope that this series is encouraging you to keep on and keep moving forward. It is all about loss and grief, and it's about things that have happened in your life. You may have lost a loved one, you may have lost relationships, you may have lost some picture of what you thought your life was going to be, and it's just changed. I don't know what that loss is in your life. You might have lost some kind of good health in your life, and you're dealing with bad health issues in your life. I don't know, but we deal with loss in all sorts of ways in our lives. This series is meant to encourage you to keep moving forward. Like, how do you keep going forward? How do you keep going forward when you feel like your soul has just been shaken to the core? And there's so many different testimonies. You can see people that sometimes it's easier. What I have found in my own life, that it's inspiring and encouraging to watch other people that have gone through it, and you read stories and you're like, that's awesome, that's beautiful. And it's amazing to see that they got to that place. But when you're going through it, like, that's not talked about so much. When you're going through that time, because sometimes those emotions are raw, they're real, they're not the normal of like, I'm trusting God. I know God's got me. I have faith. I have all these things. Sometimes those emotions are more like, I feel like God's left me. I feel like God doesn't answer my prayers. I feel like God, is there even a God? Like, the real raw answers of trusting God when you don't want to trust anymore because you're so hurt. So that is what this series is intended for. There's no, yes, beautiful, great thing to do when you're going through hard times. Read good Christian books that tell a story of how somebody went through something and how God came through on the other side. That's a beautiful thing. And sometimes it doesn't have to relate to your life at all. Those are good things to keep you moving and keep you motivated and to help you see, like, look at that testimony of how good God is. Those are to keep you going. But sometimes you're just in that mist of laying in your bed and you don't want to get out of bed. You just want to lay there and like roll over and like, why do I get up today? What is the point of me even moving today? Is anybody going to care? Like, who cares? Like, sometimes we're waking up and we're just feeling empty inside. You're just feeling like you don't even want to move. You just roll over in bed. It feels too comfy. It feels warm. It feels good to stand here. I don't want to get out in the cold. I don't want to get motivated. I don't want to get up and get a shower and get moving for my day. And plus, I have nothing to look forward to through my day. Sure, I have the mundane task. Sure, I'm going to get up and take care of my kids. Sure, I'm going to clean the house. Sure, I'm going to wash the clothes. Sure, I'm going to clean the bathroom, make some breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm going to change diapers. But those are just mundane tasks. Like, I have nothing to look forward to. And sometimes that's frustrating. That's why I share a lot on my channel. Like, you see my life, you see what I do. A little different season right now of a lot of running here and there with my kids. But if you look back at my old videos, there was a lot of just at home times. And I'm still really at home. There's a lot of at home. There's a lot of same thing. It's the same routine over and over and over. And how you can find joy in sometimes the little things of just every day. But sometimes it just, like, you have to think, what do I look forward to? Like, you're just tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of washing dishes. I'm tired of making food. I'm tired of settling quarrels. I'm just tired. And I don't want to do anything anymore. It's like that exhaustion that just seeps in from every corner of your being. And like, it just sucks you up like a sponge. And you're just like, I don't want to do life anymore. So then you question, like, what am I here for? Is this my life? Is this the abundant life that's overflowing and pressed down, pressed together and overflowing with goodness, and that God is immeasurably more to produce all these great things in my life? Anything more than I can imagine. Is this? That? And then when you're reading these stories in the Old Testament, you're reading about things they're going through, and you're like, that's not my life. Like, I can't even relate. I can't even relate. Like, I'm doing dishes. I'm changing diapers. I'm making dinner. I'm cleaning up. I'm blah. It's like routine over and over and over again. Not all these great, exciting things. I didn't see a fiery bush outside. I didn't have, rain fall from the sky and get to see it. I didn't get to see the hand of God across things. I didn't get to see I'm not seeing anything exciting in my life. Like, am I missing something? Like, what am I missing here, God? So I call it to you, God. And a great scripture to read is Psalm 55. This prayer for the destruction of the treacherous. Listen to my prayer, O God, and do not hide yourself from my plea. Listen to me and answer me. God, here. I am restless and distraught in my complaint and distracted because of the voice of the enemy, because of the pressures of the wicked. For they bring down trouble on me, and in anger they persecute me. My heart is in anguish within me, and the terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling have come upon me, and horror has overwhelmed me. And I say, oh, that I had wings like a dove. I'd fly away and be at rest. I'd wander far away. I'd lodge in the peace of the wilderness. I would hurry to my refuge, my tranquil shelter far away from the stormy wind and from the tempest. Like, if I could just get out of here, if I could just change my life, if I could just have a different life, it would be amazing. If I could just be this, then it would be awesome. Because it says, confuse my enemies, O Lord, divide their tongues, destroying their schemes. For I have seen violence and strife in the city. Day and night they go around their walls. Wickedness and mischief are in her midst. Destruction is within her. Oppression and deceit do not depart from her streets and marketplaces. For it is not an enemy who taunts me, that I could bear it. Nor is it one who has hated me, who instantly exalts himself against me. Then I could hide from him. But it is you, a man, my equal and my counsel, my companion and my familiar friend, he who had sweet fellowship together, who walked in the house of God in company. Let death come deceitfully upon them. Let them go down alive to Sheol. For evil of every kind is in their dwelling, in their hearts, and in their mindset. As for me, I shall call upon God, and the Lord will save me. Evening and morning and at noon I will complain and murmur. All the time I'm going to complain and murmur, and he will hear my voice. He has redeemed my life in peace from the battle that was against me. Though there were many against me, God will hear and humble them, even he who has sit enthroned from old. Because in them there has been no change of heart, and they do not fear God at all. He, my companion, has put out his hands against those who were at peace with him. He has broken his covenant of friendship and loyalty. His words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but his heart was hostile. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn with swords. Cast your burden on the Lord, release it, and he will sustain and uphold you. He will never allow the righteous to be shaken, slip, fall, or fail. I have that one highlighted. It says, cast your burden on the Lord, release it, and he will sustain you. He's going to uphold you. He's never going to allow the righteous to be shaken. He's not going to allow you to slip. He's not going to allow you to fail or fall. He's going to nourish you. He's going to keep providing. He's going to keep holding. He's going to sustain you. It says, but you, O God, will bring down the wicked to the pit of destruction. Men of blood and treachery will not live out half their lives, but I will boldly and unwaveringly trust in you. So the psalmist, he's going back and forth over and over on his life and whether God's even there. So you have to ask yourself, you know what? Okay, I can relate to the psalmist here. It's going back and forth over and over. Is God even there? And I have to trust this. This is the trusting part. The trusting is hard when you don't want to trust, right? I have to trust God that you are with me through this boring, mundane time in my life, that you're with me through this struggle in my life. You're with me through this horrific time in my life. And just because you're not changing the circumstances or doing something, that you're still there because you are doing something. You're doing something in the background, something bigger that I can't see, but I have to trust that. And this is the part where you say, Lord, help my unbelief. Sometimes that can be a prayer to the Lord. Help my unbelief. So reading this in here, it talks about he's complained and murmured. So he's complaining and murmuring all day, morning, noon, and night. I'm complaining. I got to get out of bed. I got to do this. I got to do that. I'm complaining morning, noon, and night. Even though I'm complaining over and over and over, essentially all day, and I begin my day with frustrations. And those frustrations just play in my mind, and they ruminate over and over and over. And they just go into a spiral over and over and over. And I'm constantly thinking this, and that. So my entire day is consumed with them until I lay down at night, and I still am thinking about the frustration of my day. But then I have to remember that God's going to meet me, and he's going to be there with me. And I don't have to fix myself. I don't have to change anything. He's going to meet me as I am. So sometimes you just wish that you wake up with sunshine and get excited for your day. And, you know, myself, I'm usually a half full person. And I usually wake up feeling great, wake up feeling amazing, wake up with a little smile on my face. But sometimes I wake up, that smile's not there. And I don't feel that sunshine in my day. Sometimes I got to search really hard to find that glimmer in my day. And sometimes that's something that you might have to do for your day. So something you can ask the Lord is, Lord, I want to experience your joy today. Show me that glimmer, that little glimmer of hope in my day. Maybe that little tiny ray of sunshine to help me get through my day. And you know, if you ask him that, he will. Because God knows that, you know, that's not what you want to do. You don't want to be against God. That's not your heart. That's not, otherwise you wouldn't be here. You're not against God. You don't want to feel those things. Even though you're feeling like you're feeling right now, That's not what you want to be. You want to have that happiness. You want to have that joyfulness that you used to have, that trust that you used to have with God. You want to feel those things that you used to have. You want to be that person that trusted no matter what. And you don't have that right now. So then you have to say, okay, God, show me. And sometimes it's going to be a rebuilding process. It's going to be one of those things where you're going to have to force yourself. Yeah, force. I know. Just like you're watching these videos. Force yourself to wake up. Ask God to show you that little glimmer of sunshine in your day. Show himself to you for the day. Give you that hope for your day, and he will. And you might have to see it. It's not going to be a big, bright thing that you had before and you thought was going amazing. It might just be something small to be thankful for. And when you can look for those small things that have that glimmer of light, I don't know what that may be. It might be as small as like, hey, I can turn my water in my sink and brush my teeth. I don't know. I'm just giving you an example. But when you can see those tiny things and be really, truly thankful for that, you can start seeing God's hand in your life again. And it starts small. It starts small. You might have to rebuild more and more and more. Sometimes your foundation rocked because it was never super strong. Or maybe it was just blown over by a big giant hurricane. And it was already strong, but it still crumbled. So you might have to rebuild piece by piece. It's like we build that foundation in Christ. You go through things in life and you think you've got this faith, and I got all this faith that move mountains, I get all these things, and you talk, you do these things, and then your life gets shaken and your world gets shaken by some traumatic event in your life. I don't know what that is and whatever you're experiencing, and then you feel like it's just crumbling. And I think of like here in Florida, I'm gonna use Florida. The houses that are built in the water, gorgeous, love to live by the water. They have these big giant metal steel beams that are dug in the ground so deep so that the foundation of the house doesn't get washed away. And I think that it's like in relation to our life. Like we have to have those metal rods so deep down and so strongly convinced in God that he is faithful and that we trust him with all these things in our life, that even though the top may get washed away, like those houses, a lot of them got ripped away. The top part of the houses, and they might have got ruined. Not necessarily completely gone, but maybe a little damaged. A little bit of water damage, a little bit of flooding. Maybe some of it got ripped out, the walls. But the main foundation stood firm in God, even though there was a mess to deal with. And they had to start rebuilding slowly. They had to clean up all the water, get out all the unbelief, get out all the garbage and all the wrong thinking in their life. And then you know what? They can start rebuilding, and you can start layering those things in your life that's on that strong foundation of God. And that is the steps that you need to take for now. It's gonna be a road. It's a journey that you're on, but it's a journey that'll have a testimony of God and the goodness that he has. But it's a journey, and it's a start. It's a mess. Sometimes it's gonna get stinky. Sometimes it's gonna get moldy. Sometimes it's gonna be messy, just like the houses that get damaged in the hurricane. But if you keep building, it can come back and it can be even bigger and more beautiful than before. So whatever battle you're going through today, pour your heart out to the Lord. First, go find yourself a space away from everybody. Go in your closet, shut your door, and lock it so nobody comes in. Shut the lights off. Sit in there with the Lord and just pour out your heart to him. Don't worry about formalities. Don't worry about praying the right way. Put that all aside and just pour your heart out to God. Your frustration, your hurt, whatever you're going through. And once it's out to God, say, okay, God, I need to see that glimmer in my day. I need to see that little tiny glimmer, that little pretty little spark and brightness in my day. And he will show you that. He will show you that today. That's my prayer and my hope for you today. So I hope that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Keep your focus on him. You're going to get there. I promise you're going to make it. All right, I will see you again next week. All right, bye.